Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, Mr. Dirk. I normally do one of these as a not live video, but seeing how I want to get the rest of hit the ground running on my next project, I don't really want to get bogged down by editing a bunch of videos. So, just kind of a recap of the good, the bad, and the ugly of Historicon 22, and what I ended up hauling, what I ended up purchasing, so forth. It is just after 10 o'clock, so it's pretty late. Got off to a late start. Had to kind of get back on my routine. And I had to enter his stats because I didn't want to wait too long and I wanted to find out how my armies did. I feel like I did pretty good, but that's why you keep track of notes, because perception is reality. So let's go ahead and until some other folks show up, assuming they show up. The UK is dead asleep now, but that's just one of those things. I couldn't get on here any earlier than that, and I do need to pick up this area because the next project is going to be happening relatively soon. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and do that while the rest of you guys come on, and because there's no point in doing this without anybody here. So, let me start off with talking about what I didn't buy. I did not buy a Winsor & Newton brush. I don't think there were any there. There was other Winsor & Newton expensive-like things. There was other brushes along that I guess would be equivalent. I just didn't feel like spending over $20 for one brush. Especially when I watched a video on brush care that basically said along the lines of, your brush is going to die anyways. So I'm like, well, if my brush isn't going to last 5 years, well then screw you. I'm not buying an over expensive brush. I mean, I'm worth it, but I don't need to. So I did not buy that. I also talked about buying some foundry paints, and I did not buy those either. Just didn't feel like spending money on them. Actually, I went to the rack and noticed that I couldn't mix them up. They come like in a little plastic container with 3 of them, a triad, so to speak, and I couldn't mix them up. I was shaking and shaking and shaking. I couldn't get them to mix. I'm like, I got a bad feeling about this, so I just decided not to buy them either. I really don't like to throw money at things and second guess my purchases. Now, with that said, I probably bought some things that I shouldn't have. Not because they were poor choices, but I'm just not going to get to them anytime soon. And but I felt that it was the time to do it. And there were things that I had waited a long time to buy the remainders of them to finish off a job. So the good news about Historicon 2022. Had a great time. It was very relaxing, and I didn't feel like I was rushed at any time. The venue was great. It was bright. The air conditioning worked stellar. So it was actually cold a couple times, which I never complained. Actually, I didn't complain that it was cold. I just mentioned that it was cold. What else? We filmed a lot. That was a lot of fun. We're going to be doing more of that at our local conventions, which we've never done any. Now, not necessarily filming games in action, because I think that's kind of, that's not really feasible in a convention setting. But going and doing an overview of the vendors and things like that, that's definitely a something we're going to be looking forward in the future. We did the video on the battleship. That was a lot of fun, and the video on all the vendor halls at Historicon, and also at we took time and went through it and showed you guys what games were running in the different places. What else was good? The folks that we met. That was a good time. Good food, good brews. What else? That's it. I mean, it was definitely a positive experience. Now, the bad stuff. Attendance was down. Attendance was down definitely for the whole convention. Attendance was down for tournaments in particular. I know that other than Mortem et Gloriam, which they claim over a dozen players in two different scales. All the other tournament stuff was really down, including Field of Glory. Not Field of Glory. There was no Field of Glory, including Flames of War. I just glanced over there, and there was less people playing tournaments than before. DBA in particular is pretty much non-existent, other than in Florida, in the United States, as far as I can tell. We did our best. We put on games at every session, so it works for everybody. And I think we got a total of like 7 different players. If our group from Florida wouldn't have come in, there basically wouldn't have been any DBA. So the good news about that is we live in DBA Mecca. But, the attendance was down either between people were scared of going to the convention or had money issues or... it was the wrong time of the year. I don't know what it was. It was a mixture of different things, I'm sure, and attendance was definitely down. And it just translated into, other people not wanting to play, DBA or what have you. It doesn't really bother me because the upside of it was that all the sessions ran with extra time, so you had plenty of time to go grab food or shop or any of that, but... it was definitely down. It's not discouraging. As a matter of fact, I have come back probably with more interest in starting my new project than ever before. And just kind of have to punt and see how to proceed. Mitch may disagree with me, but I have no plans on running DBA 3.0 anything at Historicon. It is not our venue. It is not our backyard. And by the time you add the hotel cost and the trip and everything, it's about $1,000 to go up there. And if the people don't want to drive half an hour or 40 minutes or a couple hours in their own backyard, then, screw them. They can play something else, And like I said, I had a good time. We've done everything we can. So it's not our job to get it to grow in that area. We're 15 hours away from that zone, and that's not our responsibility. So we will continue doing videos. We will continue doing DBA stuff in our venues, which are 2 hours away from us, and promoting it worldwide. But if I'm gonna go to Historicon again, I want to just be able to play whatever the hell I want. Now, with that said, had we not played DBA, I don't think that I saw very many games I'd really be interested in playing. So I don't know what that all means, but I had gone to Historicon since I heard about it, every Historicon from 2006 on, until the pandemic shut it down. So 2006, 2007, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. 20, there wasn't one. 21, they moved it to November and put a mask mandate in. Double whammy. I can't do anything in November. It's literally the worst month, and I'm not going to game with a mask on. So we skipped that one. I don't know what the turnout what it was for different events at Historicon last year, but just the fact that it's in November means it's a deal breaker. I'm not going to it. So we decided to bring it back, and we gave it a shot. Ran basically an event and everything else, including the Nicked, and we had 3 players show up for the Nick. So it's obviously not important to people, so that's okay. Doesn't matter to me. But I'm not going to take any shit from somebody saying, hey, how come you're not running DBA 3.0 anymore up there? Well, should have come last year. So we have done our best attempts, and that is not our venue. That is not our responsibility. And folks can play something else, up there. Anyways, so, and it's not saying, that's bad, but okay, whatever, we give it a go. Good old English try. If you're a bit closer, then it could be useful yearly shopping trip. I was impressed by the amount of good scenery available. With the way the internet is these days, I wouldn't go there to shop. Honestly, the biggest reason for me to go would be to film shit. We enjoyed the living hell out of doing that. So that was kind of a surprise. That was a pleasant surprise. That went really well. And I think Mitch enjoyed it as well. So, anyhow. What else? The elevators were slow as shit. We stayed on site, and the elevators were just handicapped. And there weren't that many people there. So it wasn't that. They were just really slow. Signing in for the registration was, again, a mess, like always before. We're members of another HMGS session, and they didn't have our information, even though we already sent it in, and it was a mess. And, we wasted 35 minutes or whatever getting that. That's always an issue. Always an issue. So every year it's the same thing. So what else? That was it. So it sounds like it's really bad, but it really wasn't. It was a great experience. We enjoyed doing the tour of the battleship. The filming was awesome. The nightly updates. I can't wait to do that at our local convention. All that's going to happen. I think Mitch really enjoyed doing the live updates because, I think he enjoys being on film and realizes how much fun it is. And it is. It's fun to, it's fun to talk about things that we're passionate about and that we know about really well. We don't have to make things up to know what we're talking about. So all of that will go on. It's just, I have no interest in going to Historicon to put on games for the people up there. If I do go up there, I will film and we'll do the vendors, and that part was really cool. If we didn't have like a session to go back to, I would love to go to the vendors and talk to each one of them about the stuff that they do and kind of, not really interview because that sounds a little too proper, but just kind of, find out where they're from and stuff like that. I wish I could have devoted more time to that. And in some of the games, I just show up and I don't want to really disturb the people running their games there. So, that's not one of those things. But that was definitely a plus, which I was not expecting. So I guess it was kind of an unexpected con. I wasn't expecting the turnout to be so low everywhere. I wasn't expecting the filming to be. I guess it's pretty popular. People enjoyed it. I don't blame them. I would want to see other cons as well. And in typical fashion, my stuff is unedited. So, this is the reality show. So, there are other folks that will do their Historicon videos, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks when they have it all edited. And the quality of stuff that they do is better than what's on television. and you know who I'm talking about. They do great stuff, but you don't really get an idea of whether or not the what you're seeing is the truth. So, yeah, I enjoy the commentary too. It's funny when you're doing it. When you're doing it, you feel like this is gonna be a POS, and then when you're watching it after it's done, you're like, man, we really did a good job. I mean, the camera's doing all the work, and the phone camera is just amazing. The only snag I had is I have a gimbal that my wife got for me about 3 years ago, and just before the cons shut down. And at that time, it was from my previous phone that I was doing filming on. And the new phone doesn't fit on it really well. I have to take it off of its case. And unlike Mitch, I am extremely protective of my phone. I don't do anything without it in a case. And to use the gimbal, I have to put it on the case. So I just didn't use it basically for 2 years. There weren't really any opportunities to do any kind of filming like that because we didn't have shows or anything like that. And so yeah, we had when I went back to try to use it again, I realized that the new phone didn't fit in it. The current phone, it's too, you have to take the case out of it. And I'm really leery of that, but I'm like, okay, we'll get this to work, but the app for the gimbal is no longer any good, and it's corrupted or something like that, and now there's no good gap or anything like that. So hey Rhett, you think many of the traditional shows suffer from having moved locations more than once? I don't know. I think people are nomadic. I think a lot of people have a lot of different things on their plate. The only hobby I have is this, so I don't go to baseball games or go to Gator games or do any of that stuff. And I hadn't done it in 2 years really, so I accumulated brownie points as far as I go. Welcome, JRR. But a lot of people are involved in a lot of things. I know one person in particular they used to be a DBA player, and they moved from DBA into another gaming system, and they sold all that stuff, and they moved on to something else, and they sold all that stuff, and they moved. I think that's typical. We found what works for us. We enjoy playing what it is. I'm a World War II gamer, and I don't play World War II stuff anymore because it's just too much of a pain in the butt. This is just really easy. So this has worked for me. I've been consistent for 20 years, but I know I'm the exception. So anyhow, we will do more filming, and I have no interest in trying to push DBA at Historicon anymore. There's obviously no interest there. I'm going to push our shows, and we have the interest for DBA is in Florida. And if people want to come to play at a big tournament or a bigger tournament or hell, a tournament, come to Florida and do it. We have had people from Texas, Wales, Washington State come to Florida and go on our shows. So anyhow, John Miff, yeah, welcome. Really enjoyed your show reports. We enjoyed it as well. We enjoyed doing that. But yeah, I'm not planning on running DBA at Historicon in the future. So Mitch may disagree with me, but I'm basically not going to do it. It's just, yeah, DBA is kicking ass here. So as a matter of fact, the problem we have is on our weekly games, we have too many players. If we have more than 4 players, I'm not going to film because there's just too much background information. I mean, too much background noise. Just imagine if you have 4 players, that's 2 people that are not playing and are having a conversation. So if you double that number of non-players, you just have a lot of background noise. And honestly, it's hot as shit. I mean, Historicon, if there's anything, the venue is awesome. The lighting was pretty good. But it was cold as crap. And I don't mean that like a bad thing. That's a good thing. I love it when things are cold. And, we'll go from there. Do I think there will be a DBA 4.0? I don't think so. Not from the author. The author has been kind of dormant the last 8 years. 6, 7 years, 8, 7 years. He doesn't answer emails or anything like that. I don't blame him. He's people like to pester, So some people ask a question, they don't like the answer, and they keep answering questions. So Sergeants is a miniature game of World War II. The miniatures are pre-painted. So that's an interesting thing about Sergeants. Okay, when we went and did the, I know about Sergeants for. Well, it's been out for about 8 or 10 years. It seems like it's been out that long. I've never gotten a chance to play it. And because I was running so many things, there was actually a guy that was sitting there waiting to show people Sergeants at Historicon, and I couldn't play it. I couldn't play in the demo because I had so much responsibilities of playing DBA or running the DBA stuff. And it ended up being just for mostly the people from Florida. So, I would have gotten a chance to go up there. Is my butt still numb for the drive? You know what? It's not that long of a drive. We were fine until, it felt like a 6-hour drive, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you what, this is the first time I go to a con and my voice wasn't hoarse because I didn't have to scream over anybody. And it's not to say that there wasn't any noise in the tournament room, but anyhow, so that went pretty well. A small group here of players, but we have not played in a while due to the pandemic. We plan on getting together in August. Yeah, you got to be careful that the Prime Minister will come down on you. Walk through the dealer area in the convention. There will be more of that to come. We're going to do that every show in Florida. So I just hadn't done it, never thought about doing it, but anyhow, so disappointed. I don't even know that I'm disappointed. It was just not what I was expecting. Let's put it that way. So, you like those Toon War miniatures? Yeah, I was expecting more 3D printed stuff, honestly. The vendor for CNB miniatures, and I'll get to that in a second, basically stopped. He stopped selling to the public, and I talked to him. I said, "Are you going to plan on doing that again?" And he's like, "No, it was really cutting into his retirement. He was going to the post office every day, and so he's just going to go to shows." He had at least 3 of every single pack. It seemed like it, so he was definitely very stocked up, and I appreciated it. I told him, "Hey, I'm glad you came by," and he seemed pretty appreciative. But there weren't a whole lot of vendors that had stuff that I was really interested in, which honestly was probably a good thing because, I'll get to that. So, let's see. Where should I start? The haul. All right. I don't know if I'd call it a haul, but I could tell you at least what I got and why I got it. So you will not see any Winsor & Newton brushes in my future because I'm just not going to spend $20 on a brush. And there weren't any there. So, would you like an updated version of DBA or something based on it? I remember you said once there'd be a few things I would change. I don't know what the future's going to bring. So, I don't know what the future's going to bring. Hey, welcome, folks. Chaotic. Hey, welcome back. I don't know what the future's going to bring. I've said it before. I'm not going to learn to play another game of Ancients that has some of the things that I think could be better in DBA, mainly conforming. I'm not playing another game with perfect conforming. So I don't care how popular Art de la Guerre is. I'm not interested in playing it. They had a lot of activity, and I wasn't jealous of it. They were playing on a big table. They were having a lean over it. There was very loud over in that area, and it's just too many troops for me. I'd rather paint 3 times as many armies than an army that's 3 times as big, if that makes any sense. So, good for them. I don't poo-poo just because you like to play, Art de la Guerre or Triumph or Mortem et Gloriam. I think the guy was running Mortem et Gloriam. The author was there. I didn't see him, but I don't think he had any players either. I could be wrong. I hope he did, but everything was down quite a bit. All right, because we don't have enough toughs. So, before I get started on this, I did mention that I was probably going to come up to the decision that we'll get into how the armies do and who my new nemesis is, but because that's what actually got these stats going really. I had to do my stats and make sure that I didn't fall too far behind doing that before I came online. I was planning on being on it at 9 and ended up freaking taking an hour basically to do it. But Mitch ended up picking up a Han Chinese army, those sons of bitches. That's my new Numidian nemesis. Yeah, it's not that the army's so good. He just rolls like the devil. He must have a deal with the devil. Because I ended up playing him 9 times, and he won 7 of the time. So just so you guys know, you keeping track, he's within 1 game of tying me. Okay? And normally you're like, well, that doesn't really mean anything. Well, I'll tell you what it does mean. It means that bastard is, and I mean that bastard in a loving way, of course. We've played 953 games. So I am 477 to 476 with him. Now, everybody else, Joe Coton was the guy that was beating the crap out of me every week. And poor Joe had some bad luck against me, and I think he only won 1 game against me. But Mitch made up the difference on everything else. Of course, these stats are just fun to talk about, But Mitch is within 1 game of tying me, and I told him the responsibilities then come to him for filming. So if you don't see any more filming, well, you shouldn't have been rooting for Mitch to beat me. Hey, I'm an occasional die roller, and I like to paint, so, I always have painting to fall back on. So anyhow, he was picking up a Han Chinese army that he had someone paint for him at the show. And he did really well with that army, and because of that, I will be doing a big Hun morph, and that means everything between Attila, Shang Nu, White Huns, everything in between. Now, all the light horse will be the same. I'm not making specific Shang Nu light horse or White Hun light horse. It will be Hun light horse. So. It is many figures I picked up from Marty. I could probably do them just with Marty's figures, but I'm a fan of variety, and this is an army that is definitely what I would call rustic and boring looking normally, and we're not going to do that with them. We're going to make them shine. So I did for the first time order figures from Forged in Battle. So we're going to be mixing the Forged in Battle figures along with the Gladiator figures I got from Marty, and they should be really, 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 really cool looking army. So I'm planning on doing some scenarios with them in the spirit of like Connor Truby did with the Roman scenarios, and there will probably be modified rules in there for light horse. We'll see. There'll be some play testing to do. So Mitch really especially after Mitch did so well with his Han army, he really, really likes him, which is saying something because he is not a fan of cavalry generals, but he did really well. He rolled like a fiend. He's the devil's going to come for his soul. So I'm going to start calling him Kung Flu Mitch because he did so well with the Chinese army. With that said, he still only won 1 event though. So joke's on him. But he was basically the kingmaker of keeping me from getting more things. So at this point, these things are they're just little mementos. They don't really mean anything to me, How much I like the army, how it turned out, is really what's important to me. And that they come back and, people didn't steal them or something like that. But the rest of this stuff is, I'm running out of space on the wall anyways. So I did manage to win Wimp Wars with Vlad, which went 3-0. Vlad was on the ball. Had some close games. Had some really, really close games. Most games were really, really close. The Constantinians did win Byzantium at war, so that's appropriate. And the Pope won. Now that's Italian. So Now, with that said, going back to how everything went, everybody did really well except two armies. One army got skunked bad. So I'll tell you what that is. That is my who's those guys? I know. How would you guys know? Let me switch this. My Nang Chow. My Nang Chow went 0-3. The bamboo freight train just flat out ran out of steam. And so luckily they had a pretty positive record. So that brought them back, cut them back down to size. My Constantinian Byzantine started really strong. 4-1 basically. And then they're now 5-4. So they're close to being 50-50. But that's because of the damn Chinese army, of Mitch's damn Chinese army. So, and they were close games, but still, he got the better of me. Just for the record, the Byzantines have never lost the emperor. So, or the 8 bow either. So, I do like the army. It is different than the rest of them that I have. So, You're impressed how big the convention was in terms of square feet. If I was one of the other rooms, I could see rooms totally being missed. They could be totally missed, what it is. So, when's the next con in your neck of the woods? And last weekend in September is Hurricane in Kissimmee/Orlando. It's really right outside the Disney World, so the Magic Kingdom, or really the whole Disney property. This figure's really good. I had them 15. We'll make them look fantastic. I will. I may not know how to win with the army, but or roll with the army, but I can paint. So, speaking of which, so we have a step army coming up. So one of the things you can make step armies look really interesting is the basing on them. And so we picked up some light brown tufts. I have so much freaking tufts now. Let me make sure that the color is somewhat accurate. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, what you guys are seeing. And these are what I like to call the Portuguese tufts, because they come from Portugal. And these run about $6 each. And I like to mix like 3 different type of tufts on my stands just for variety. And yeah, so this is light brown. I don't know about, kind of more like a medium brown, but we're going to be doing step stuff. So anyhow, this is one of the colors we're going to be using for that. Then I picked up some mixed green. I don't think I have this color. It has some red and stuff in there. I don't know if you guys can make it out, but just something to give some extra detail. I picked this stuff up from, I want to say, Michigan Toy Soldier Company. I would like to have spent more time in the vendor hall talking to folks, or at least the folks that wanted to talk. Some people just didn't want to be that friendly, and some people did. But because we were running stuff, I felt like we needed to run back the table. So stickers from from them. They were going away. Receipt. You guys don't need to see that. Not that I spent that much, but still. And then it was a new vendor. Oh, hold on. This is cool. This is for I got a jungle army I'm going to do at some point. And this is dark green shrubs. And I'm going to see if I can do a side view of this. It's almost like there's some vegetation on them. And if you look at the side view, you could see that looks pretty cool. Now, I've got some... see, winter tuft. Here's another color we can use for this stuff. I got too many freaking tufts here. Look at this stuff here. Here's another jungle type thing. Like the other jungle that I have. Plus, I've got some bright green stuff. Oh, here's another jungle thing. Check this out. Yeah, we can do all kinds of stuff. So, it doesn't even remotely fit in this box. So, I've pretty much got Army Painter, the Gamer's Grass. Australian Greg sent me some lead bear tufts from the land of Oz, so we're going to be working those in there as well. And I came across a new supplier, and I told them I was going to do an unboxing on here and talk about their products, even though I don't have that many viewers. But hey, it could help them out. This name is Huge Miniatures, and I don't think that they had any miniatures, but they had lots of paint, and you can check out some of their supplies here. I asked them, I said, "Are you guys new?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean by new?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. How long you guys been in business?" Like 4 years. I'm like, that's kind of new. So I figured I was going to talk about their products. And if you guys are interested in them, I'm sure they have a website. And if you use that code, you can get a discount. Anyhow, I don't know if I'm supposed to be giving that to you, but they can use the business. I like the small mom and pop things before they go out of business. And they've got some interesting tufts here. This is a burnt. They have talk about irregular shapes. Look at this. You guys got to see the side view of this. They definitely have like some red in them. I don't know if I can get this to focus right, but this one is called Burnt Overgrown, and they have all kinds of crazy colors too. If you guys are doing Warhammer 40K or something like that, they've got interesting stuff there. I think it's a husband and wife, and they just kind of do this on their own, and I really like the regular shape of them. I mean, they're really, really irregular, and especially for those of us that are doing 15s, you can get those guys in different places. So I picked that up, and this other color that is Desert Overgrown. So again, same kind of irregular. Let's put them side by side so you can see the difference there. We're going to be using all this stuff in these step armies. So looking forward to doing that, making these rustic looking guys, making them shine. Okay. Yeah, that's the tough. I need to find something to put these tufts in because it's out of control now. It's out of control. Oh man, it's all good stuff. So that's the kind of stuff I don't mind picking up because I'm not going to mail order them. You can't get them through. I don't think you get them through Amazon. So nobody wants to pay shipping for stuff. All right, lead, because that's what we need, like a hole in the head. All right, so I've got the Forged in Battle, medium cavalry, and the 2 light cavalry. Also, one with mixed weapons and one with bows coming. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we got all these guys to paint. So these are all the figures I got from Marty, and I already sorted them in here. And about half of the mounted is going to be Marty's stuff, and the other stuff is going to be Forged in Battle. So, like a light horse, it's going to be I suspect almost always it's going to be a gladiator horse and a Forged in Battle horse. Unless they really aren't sized correctly. I don't think that's the case. So, anyhow, I love mixing figures, as you may or may not know. All right, let's start with the weird stuff. So, a lot of people don't know what they bring to the con, and one of the vendors actually does, and even though they didn't bring all the stuff that they have with them, and that's Silver Eagle Wargame Supplies. They have some irregular miniature stuff, and that's hard to get here in the States. So I picked up some dogs, because you never know when you're going to need that. Okay. And a heffalump. This is actually a really good looking Indian heffalump. Yes, Mitch only bought troops from Rod. The flea market was just MIA. Joe did pick up one army at the flea market, and he picked up another army at the folks that were running Art de la Guerre. There's somebody was selling several armies. So, interestingly enough, Joe ended up picking up a Sassanid Persian army, and he also picked up a Hun army, of course. So he's going to be my Hun brother. So we're going to be teaming up, and I'm sure we can do multiple player stuff with 2 Hun armies. I think, Marty, you've got one of those as well. So, how did I get the Tulare Byzantine figures for your Constantinians? So on the Fanaticus site, this guy said, "Hey, I've got this Byzantine army that I don't want. I'm not going to paint," and I bought it from him. And this was probably like 4 years ago. So very happy. I am not going to paint the the Komnenen units that go with it at this point. And the Komnenen units would be a blade stand, a spear stand, and 2 fast bows. I'm going to wait. Mitch said as long as I get them done by the end of the year, I said I can do that. But I need to do Huns now. We've got a lot of things that could work for at the show in September. So that's my goal, is to get those guys done. In particular, the white Huns. So if you guys want to beat me, build an army that is specifically geared for that. Not that I care one way or the other. I just want them to look good. So here's a Heffalump. And how much does a painted army go for in the U.S.? I don't know. Over $100. Somewhere around $150. Depends. Something like that. But, lead for an army is like $70 now. So, So here's a Heffalump with nothing on it. And then I never know when this is going to come in handy, but I figured, hey, let's get a tiger. Because I've got a Southeast Asian army I've got my eye on. That's what those jungle bushes are for. And I can't make that out really well. But I don't know that the casting is that good. But, yeah, kitty cat. Sneal. Yeah, Elaine Tullyer's passed. Nobody knows what became of his excellent miniature ranges. I think his family's not continuing it. So, hopefully he's down there looking down on him, and I did him justice. So, I really like his stuff. I had to replace his spears because they just weren't going to last. They're definitely a soft alloy. Is the rest of this stuff Essex? I think the rest of this stuff is Essex. All right. So I picked up things I didn't need right this moment just because I felt like I just damn felt like it. How about that? I wanted to get things. I didn't want to buy things sight unseen when I did that. So there's 2 armies I want to build in the short term. One of these is probably going to be the one I do after the Huns. And let's see if I can put these guys in groups together. Okay, these guys go here. This one goes here. This one goes here. And I have some of the troops for both of them. And these in particular are 2 armies that, when I get done with them, they're just going to blow you away. They're just going to blow you away how good these guys are going to look. Because they're colorful armies. And I'm splitting them up between armies, so just bear with me for a second, because I don't want to be hopping around between them. And I've got some of these guys already. And these are actually some of the nicer Essex. Castings. Oh, that's the one we're going to do first. Actually, that was what I got on the first day. So one of the things that I need to have on the white Hun elephant is apparently they had halberdiers on it. And you can't find any Hun figures, okay? You can't find any freaking Hun figures at all that are foot archers, other than the gladiator guys that I got from Marty. And I'm going to use those as some of them, but I wanted some guys I could put on the elephant shooting archers. I just couldn't find anybody down, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to mix them around, but they don't have any like halberdier. There's actually a company called Camelot Miniatures that was in Italy, and they actually had some Hun foot, but anyhow, I needed to get some halberdiers, so I got these Mongols, and we're gonna do these. We're gonna Hun these guys up. Let's see if we can get that a little closer here. These are actually really nice castings. So we're going to put some of these guys on the elephant. The description says with 10 halberdiers. I'm not putting all 8 of these guys on the elephant. That's just extreme. but we are going to put some foot guys on here. But that's why you pick these guys. Do I have a website with pictures of your armies on it? I did have a WordPress site. I still do. I haven't updated it in many years. It's a lot of work for very few people seeing it. So it's not really worth my time. So I try doing something, and then when it doesn't work, I know when to bail. You know, because you don't want me to get burned out or you won't get anything else from me. So I got to look out for number one. So something becomes a pain in the ass, I won't do it anymore. All right, so one of the armies I wanted to get that I have a fair amount of stuff is later Spanish. And this is the medieval Spanish list. So we needed to get some spearmen, and these guys look particularly stupid. I'll show you one of them. They got this dumbass helmet, but that's kind of what they look like. We're talking like in the 1400s. Okay, they have these almond-shaped shields. We'll probably end up replacing these spears. Got one pack of them because I need 2 stands of spears for that army. That's MID 105. Then we ended up getting little javelin guys that almost look like little jesters. These are the Hermandad, the religious order, and they look like little jester dudes running around with little javelins and stuff like that. Let's see if we can get closer than that. Tony is a later Spanish. Yes, definitely. These guys actually paint up pretty cool. See, can I get them somewhere? There we go. It's hard to tell where the camera thing is. But this is MID 109. We got one pack of them. I figured it was an opportunity to not have to pay shipping. What did we get? We got some jinetes, which are light cavalry, javelin throwing light cavalry. Did you see the guys with a 6mm sailing ship game near Wally's basement? No, but I see sailing ship games and I'm like, yawn. I don't mind like if it was like galleys and stuff like that, but Napoleonic sailing ships, they all look the same. And I've painted one, and I really did not like the game. Oh, this is a one-piece casting. Okay, so these guys have padded jackets, and 4 of them come in here, so you can get. Okay, these two guys go on there, and these guys go on there as well. These you put on the horse separately. So, got one pack of them. 11 viewers. Man, thanks guys for signing in. It's kind of late, but it's kind of a deal we got going on. I'll film, and if you guys watch me, we'll keep doing more filming. You know, nobody wants to. You introduced the missus to hot the other day. She liked it. There you go. There you go. I don't mind hot. It's just I wish the contacting stuff was the same. I wish the mechanics were the same. And yeah, but I like doing the live videos as long as you guys are watching it. And I picked this up at the store. I had to get one of these. Had to get one. As soon as I saw this at Bell and Blade, I'm like, I gotta get one of these hats for my live videos. Oh man, anything to entertain you guys. Mid 103A, lunchtime here. Can I eat lunch with you? I'm always hungry. Here's some later Spanish Knights. And you can get A or B depending on whether you want horses with the coverings on them. I have so many Essex horses with the coverings that I don't want any more. I'd rather have barren ones. And be honest with you, that's probably what I'm going to do for these guys. And these guys are. All right, we got to do better than this. Let's see here. Let's twist this. Let's not unplug the phone. Thank you. Again, my stuff is unedited. You go and you watch other videos, and those guys really know what they're doing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Not when it comes to this. I'm a painter, and these guys have a variety of different... Well, variety. They have two. I specifically do not want them to have shields, because this is going to be... I want these guys like basically after like the 100 Years' War time period. So... And 4 horses with them. And I've got some other knights I'll be able to mix in with them from other manufacturers when we get around to doing these guys. Mid 10A. Barding Tony, not for the Spanish. That wasn't that popular. I've got other horses that are barded, but if I need to, I wanted plain horses. These guys have maces. This guy's got a different mace and a tuft on his head. I guess 2 of each. Need this stuff like a hole in the head. Actually, I do need these guys if I build this army, so we just need to make sure that we do them. I hate playing Spanish armies, though. There's too much reason I gotta win. This is MID 101. These are similar to the other ones. It's basically like the guys that have the maces, but with lances. And I will replace these lances when I do it. There's no Essex bendy things are that way. But if you notice, the Spanish knights are definitely lighter than like the French. They don't have the lances that are tapered, so therefore they don't have armored horses either. Yes, they use them, but only very elite and very few of them actually had that. They tended to be a little on the lighter side. Okay? So that's it for the Spanish. Now, the other army that someone gifted me a bunch of figures for, not a bunch, but a fair number of them, and from one of my favorite manufacturers, which is no longer available anymore, which is called Roundway. Roundway is MIA completely. Will continue to tease you and give you grief. Okay, it's only grief if I let it get to me, and you don't know what I got to deal with every day at work. So, anyhow, so this guy gifted me these figures because they were Roundway, and this phone cord is unplugging itself. Let me make sure we don't have a problem on down the road. There we go. And so I've got most of this army, and the army I'm talking about is Granada, the Kingdom of Granada. So I know that these are relatively new castings from Essex. Relatively new, meaning they might be 5 or 6 years old, and they have a nice variety of figures, so I figured I'd show them to you guys. And this is probably, at this point, the army that I'm going to do next, after the Huns. And this is an army that's Wimp War capable. Let's get to the bow. Let's get to the crossbows, because I got, I think, 3 packs of these. And let me see. Let me move them off to the side. 3, 2, definitely 2. Maybe only 2. Yeah, 2 of them. And all right, I'm putting them down here, but what the hell? Where the hell's the camera? There we go. Get some variety of poses here. it's a guy that comes with a separate crossbow. I'm not a fan of those. Not that I can't glue it, but it's just another thing to do. So you get 8 figures in the pack. I got 2 packs of those. And I bet I have other crossbow guys I could work in there because, you know, those guys have this kingdom in Europe, so they've got some intermixing of styles and stuff like that. So the other pack is the same. All right. I got some bow that I'm going to use for the Saloy. These are MID 16. Show you what we got on there. What do I use for painting guides in my army? Man, there's all kinds of stuff on the internet. You know, after you've done this for a while, the books that are available on this stuff are less and less useful. The books seem to be useful if you don't have a clue, but I use Pinterest a lot. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of wrong stuff on Pinterest. You kind of have to know what you're looking for. But Pinterest is really useful. A Google image search is the best thing, really. Google image search and Pinterest is really the best thing I've found. So that's 4 stands of skirmishers right there. And of course, what I'm really looking forward to is, oh, now I find the 3rd pack of crossbowmen. Yeah, I thought I'd gotten 3. What do we have here? We have some Andalusian. These are Andalusian spearmen. MID 115. There's actually pictures of these all online. Unfortunately, they're painted. I wish they would show pictures of figures unpainted, because unless they're painted by somebody brilliant, I'd rather them be just unpainted, because you get a better idea of what you could do with them. But Osprey references, you know, sometimes they're useful, sometimes they're not. Osprey references are useful sometimes, and then like, okay, I want to see what patterns they have in their shield, and they do a cop-out. They'll show you the backside of the shield. So really, 28 millimeter figures are really useful. You know, you go on there and say like Artisan Designs or all the guys that make 28 millimeter stuff always have different. I've seen the Medieval 1212 mod for Attila Total War. I think I have. I played around with the 1000. No, the 1100 mod is, I think, for Rome. No, I haven't messed with the Attila one. I just got Attila and I played it very little. It looks a little rustic, but I do have it. I bought it when it was cheap. But that would be for the. I actually have Tulare figures to do the Book 335C Feudal Spanish. I have lots of those to do as well. So I technically have like 2 more Feudal Spanish to do. Plus my original Feudal Spanish army is not 3.0 compatible. So that's something that at some point I may or may not retrofit. It's just easier to paint new armies and start something new. Mid 120. I looked at the 1100 mod, for instance, for help maybe with my Byzantines. It wasn't very helpful. You know, I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the stuff that they did. They did those Byzantine shields that have the claw or that feather, and I freaking hate those. They just look stupid. You know, sometimes you come across something that you don't like, and it doesn't matter whether they used it or not. The example I always like to use is Commonwealth vehicles in Northwest Europe. You know, in World War II, had sometimes a white star on the roof. I'm not going to do it. It just looks inappropriate. It just looks dumb. Like, why don't they get to use their own roundel? And it's not that, you know, they're not worthy of, you know, having a U.S. star. It's not an American vehicle. It's bad enough that it's like a Sherman, and now you got to put a white star on the roof. I'm not going to do stuff like that. So sometimes I'll see things that I'm like, I just don't like that shield pattern. So the shield patterns for my Byzantines, I'm excruciatingly happy with. I am I'm telling you, that's like my favorite army. And they actually did really well as long as they did not encounter Mitch's Kung Flu fighters. So mid 102, mid 120 is these Grenadine Spearmen. And these guys are really cool and beautiful. And they have little wraps around their heads. Let's put them over here more towards the center. And these guys are... Now, little spears like this, I won't replace them because they don't stick out far enough. But... And it's just 2 stands of spear. So... I won't necessarily use these. I'm going to use some of the other guys and mix them in. So I don't mind having extra figures because I want variety. So if it calls for it. How was the trip back? It was fine. It was fine. It's simply they didn't trust the U.S. Air Force. Paint a white stripe on the roof or something. I don't know. What do we have here? Some light cavalry, mid 114. The trip back was fine until we hit the border there around Savannah, Georgia, and South Carolina. It was just, it came to a halt for no reason, you know. You get pet peeves. Mine's a Byzantine kettle helmet. I know it was historical. I just don't like it. None of my guys have that. Yeah, I got pet peeves too. It's okay. Hey, when you're the painter, you can paint them however the hell you damn well please. So, you know, I get that, you know. It's your artwork. The temperature of the convention center was really, really cold. Not a complaint, just an observation. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah. No. Normally I'd be like, oh man, these guys just don't have anything on their shields. I'm like, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can go crazy with these guys. So. And it's a Wimp War army. And yeah, these guys are going to look cool. Mid 118 is more light cavalry with Aradaga shields. If you don't know what an Aradaga shield is, that is those heart-shaped shields that were made out of leather. And they like to have these little feathers on them. And sometimes they look really weird, like that's not how it should be. So I'm going probably to take some of them off. Like, you know, there's 2 poses of each one probably. So I'm going to have one guy that I'll take his off and the other one I won't, kind of thing. Got some horses. So Essex horses have an interesting problem. You take a horse like this is actually a really good looking horse, casting. When you go to glue this thing down, it is so weak because it's, even when you glue it, and because Essex horses tend to be a softer alloy, there's a couple of my horses for my Wallachian army that are almost about to break off the stand. So, you know, when did I leave up there? 5:30 in the morning, and we got home about 8:15, and we should have gotten there at 7:15. So it was a piece of cake. It seemed like it was like a 6-hour drive. Mitch drives like a maniac, so, you know, it's his speeding ticket if he gets one. I wouldn't say that much time, but traffic was really kind of light other than in some places. South Carolina was a problem. Okay, mid 117A is some medium cavalry. And these are all troops for Granada, the Kingdom of Granada. Grenada. And then the last pack I got South Carolina is always a problem. Yeah, lots of wars start there. MID 113. This is the heavy hitters. And of course, when I go to do these guys, I'm going to take all these horses and I'll put them all in a bag, and I'll pick from all of them. Guys with shields, guys with small shields. They don't give you a commander, which is fine. I've got lots of Arab commanders, and I'll make my own. I'll probably get a guy that looks kind of Western looking, and I'm going to put a little green stuff of the little towel around the bottom of his helmet. It's always a sign of authority. You're somewhat buggered. Slightly effed. So, let's see. That's it. Did I get anything else? I don't think I got anything else. I didn't need any of these Essex figures. Well, I needed the Mongol guys. Let's take a look at some of these Huns. How about that? And one thing I did discover is... Let me see if I can do this. While I was up there, I got an email. I kept getting this Facebook friend of mine that kept posting pictures of artwork. And apparently, there is... I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, but I got to download it. There is a... there's a program. I'm not a technology guy. And I'm not afraid of saying I'm not a technology guy. I can't be into everything, and I can't be good at everything. But honestly, I'm not really interested in technology stuff because it changes too fast. And it's not what I do for a living, so I just find it tedious. But there is a... Let me save this. That way I can post it for you guys to see that. And we're going to go over here. All right. And let's see if I could do that. So there's a program you can, you apparently can use with, let's see, is this image come on? Okay, we'll put it, do I want to put it there or want to put it up here? Let's put it up there. Let's replace this Komnenen image with that. And we're going to right click and not transform, properties. There we go. I'm going to browse. So there's a program you can go and it works through Discord. And honestly, I have kind of a bad opinion of Discord because it's very difficult to disconnect from. But he's like, hey, try this out. And it's a program that you can create artwork using prompts. And what the hell does that mean? Well, it means you're in this Discord and you say, hey, I want to create Attila the Hun, super detailed, and you can create something like this. And you can do it with everything. You can do, you know, sunset over Japan, misty sky blue. And just by tinkering with it, you can create all kinds of different stuff. So I think this is a cool tool. It's like, for instance, to make awards. Use this for the awards, for things like that. It's really neat. You can really tinker with it. And it is called Midjourney. So if you guys are familiar with Discord, you're probably more familiar with it than I am. You can make this through a thing called Midjourney. And it's free for like the first 25 images, and after that you can set up a subscription to do it, which I tinker. That was my splurge. I'm like, we'll do it for a month, see what I can come up with. So speaking of chumps, where's Rick at? I don't know. He's probably celebrating his 8,000th subscriber. That's what he was saying earlier today. Good for him. I am way too focused on what I'm interested in to have that many subscribers. So the fact that there's over 1,500 of you that are even remotely interested in what I have to say is pretty cool. Anyhow, so this is this is what we're going to be doing. Is we're going to be doing Huns and the like. So let's take a look at what we got. Well, let's get rid of these guys that are non-related, non-aligned figures. And then we'll take a look at some of these Huns, the majority of which are ones I got from Marty. And yeah, they're old figures, but they're not old in the sense that they look like crap. They're good looking figures. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a potty break, so I will be right back in a moment. Okay, we're back. Your subscribers are quality. Who needs quantity? All the guys I hear from are quality, definitely. I agree with you. If you're a lurker, well, hell, I don't know who you are. All right, let's take a look at some Huns. And I'm going to use about half of these guys, I suspect. And I'm not waiting until the Forged in Battle guys get here. We're going to start working on these guys now. Because we've got, let's see, it's the end of July, so we've got end of August, end of September. I got 2 months to get these guys done. So, challenge accepted. Right, so we've got some Roundway Bactrian camels. Here it's called Mughal Bactrian camels. Well, that doesn't really mean anything to me because, you know, it's not like they're the only ones that have the camels, but we'll probably use this for the baggage element or something like that for the army, the camp. I wanted to get, you know, like a bunch of little yurts or something like that, but I suspect that Huns use yurts, or who would frickin' know? All right, these are guys that I got from Marty. Hun light archers. My surname seems as if it was created after my Germanic ancestors fought the Huns. Well, by the way, I ran into a Russian guy at the convention, Nordic, and I was telling him that about that you dislike everything Russian, even if they're fighting the Mongols. So he got a laugh out of that. Okay, so 2 packs of these Hun light archers, which I believe there's 10 to a pack, so that's 20 guys. Actually, I think one of the armies actually needs 5 stands of solid bow. So, well, those are consumed. We got some warband here that we're going to use these guys. They're light spearmen. We have, Oh, we've already split these in different bags of the same pose. So all these have the same pose. These are medium cavalry. These are all the same pose. These are more medium cavalry that are all the same pose. There's I think three stands of cavalry. Could have them. Now, one thing I can see is I can actually have a Attila stand and then a White Hun stand. So I'm probably going to use this guy, even though this is a Mongol figure, supposedly. Those are metal magic figures, yes. This is a Mongol figure from museum. I'm probably going to use him as the commander of one of them, on the command stand of one of them. The other guy is here somewhere. I guess he's in the command pack. I could see having two different cavalry things. Here's the little pom-pom this guy's got. Actually comes with two of them, but I want a variety of them. Here is the head guy in charge. This guy sucks. Look at his butter knife. He's got a tiny, tiny little knife. So I don't know if I'm actually going to use that guy as one of the commanders, but we'll see what the Forged in Battle guys look like. And I'm probably going to give both of the stands a flag. I don't care if they didn't use it. I mean, they can have the horsetail thing too, but they need to have the flag. Okay. Here's some Step Warrior archers. I forgot to put those in here. These are actually a minifigs line from their Tang list. And obviously these guys with... I may use some of these guys on the elephant. So, we will see. An elephant with 10 halberdiers. Well, there's got to be some bowmen on there. It's not the size of the knife that matters. Well, back in that time, you know, you got to get some respect, or, you know, they'll poison you. Or you'll poison yourself by drinking too much. What's in here? Oh, this isn't yet another commander. Oh! We'll save that for last. Or kind of towards last. And then what's this? This is a bunch of light horse. A bunch of light horse figures. With bows and stuff like that. Actually, I'm going to end up using most of these because there's not that many that are in here. Some of them have javelins. Of course, they still have a bow strapped to the back. So... Alright, this is actually Hun figures from Elaine Toulaire. I picked them up when, I don't know. I don't know how I picked them up, to be honest with you. So, look at this guy. This guy's definitely a worthy looking commander. And here's a guy holding the banner or something, or one of this. I guess it's a yak hair standard. That's lame. Give them something better. I got ideas for flags, so. Yeah. Probably going to make this guy Attila. Historicon with a medium age 62. We need to bring young people. I think manufacturers step up their packaging game would help. Ziploc baggies ain't doing it. Yeah. How do you know the median age is 62? You're probably right. Most people are about 10 years older than I am. That'd make them 61. So there were some younger folks, but Historicon's not my problem. It's not in my backyard. I'm 15 hours away from it. They need to step up their game. Like I said, oh, here's a Byzantine guy. We need to put him away. All right, so the White Huns are going to have an elephant. And between that bear and elephant, I may actually use this one, which is I believe this is a museum elephant. I'm leaning towards using this and making a platform on here. And I don't give a shit if it's appropriate or not. I may just do it. Do I consider 38 young, Tony? I'm 51 and feel like I'm 25, to be honest with you. So, yeah. So the elephant is known as using swords and attached to tusks. This guy looks like I fit in the bill. And it is an irregular superior elephant, just so you know. So, and I think this actually will look really good with the Mongol foot on it. The Mongol foot guys. Let me pull one of those guys out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And there's no damn pictures of this thing. And the whole 10 halberdier things, it was just some Chinese guy, explorer that came by and wrote back that that's what they had. But, you know, I don't know what the hell maybe he was smoking something, you know. Let's see. Well, he was in this bag, and he shouldn't be in this bag because he's going to get used. Jeez, it was just in here. This is why I make an effort to be really organized, because you could just waste a lot of time. It's not like I'm going to lose something. It's just going to waste a lot of time. The Huns used elephants. Yes, the white Huns have one heffalump, and apparently they had hundreds of heffalumps. Yeah, they attacked India and then, you know, did that. So you got a guy that's armored like this. Looks like the armor on this guy. And of course it'll be leather armor, you know. So I may use this guy as the heffalump for him. I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be, like a rocket launcher or some shit like that. I don't know what it is. We'll make a little platform for it. Put some archers up there or some shit like that. And guys on foot around him. I think 4. I think any more than 4 is just absurd, but this is a good looking piece. And I've had this thing a while. What am I going to use it for? The Moguls? I'm not going to pull the Moguls anytime soon. And I've got some other armored elephants too. I just happen to like the way this one looks. Heffalumps and woozles. I'm not sure what a woozle is, but okay. I look 25 too. It's not that I look 25. It's that people my age, a lot of them are just look a lot older. Oh, I got it from my dad. My dad looked young even into his 70s. I mean, you know, he looked like an older man, but I mean, he didn't look like 70 or whatever, so. I also don't have a crazy life, so I don't live a double life or anything like that. I am what I is, so what am I doing wrong here? Is this like 2 left sides of the same elephant? Okay, so there we go. There's the hole for his head. I'm gonna have you guys take a look at this. This is, I think, this is Outpost War Game Services, which is also out of business here. Look at this guy. There's a cool looking armored elephant. But the other one comes with like a Mongol type looking dude on it. So I kind of like that, you know. Woozles or weasels in Winnie the Pooh. Okay. And this is just another elephant somewhere else, but which is just in here for no reason whatsoever. But I think for the crew mainly. But anyhow, so that's probably what we're going to work with. I don't have to decide on the elephant. The elephant will be the last thing to do because that's just super exciting. So, but yeah, Huns next. We're going to paint the Xiongnu first, or the army composition in the Xiongnu, so that we goes to convention 15 hours away, claims he doesn't have a crazy life. It's the only hobby I have, though, and I haven't gone in 3 years. So some of you guys go to Europe. That's crazier. You got to go through TSA and wear masks and all kinds of shit like that. But anyhow, yeah, it was a pretty good trip. Like I said, I'm more motivated than when I left to work on stuff, and less motivated than when I left to run games up there. I don't have any plans on running another game at Historicon. That doesn't mean I won't go. That just means that, you know, I've done it for many years, and what else can I do? So it is what it is. It's their backyard, not mine. So as a matter of fact, unless you were playing Art de la Guerre, it was really, really low turnout, and you know. Anywho, thanks for stopping by. We were all an hour and a half, so it's almost midnight. But that's kind of the recap of what happened, and what's coming up next. So anyhow, we will talk to you guys soon, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the videos that happened the last couple days if you want to. And they're, I think, entertaining and have our unique style of humor, I think, if you're into that. And you're glad you ended up canceling your Historicon trip now. Yeah. Well, too many of those, and then you have a low turnout. It doesn't, it wasn't that when you were there walking around that it felt like there weren't a lot of people. But if I wasn't playing DBA, I don't know what I would have played. I didn't see very many things. It's like, I could go and, play. I would have liked to play the demo of, you played the demo that, for that Sergeant's game. That looked pretty interesting, but I just didn't have time to commit to it. And it's not like I'm going to go out and buy the game, but yeah, you see, you canceled despite living an hour away from where it is. So the fact that people that are an hour away from the convention don't want to go to it, and I'm not jumping on you and saying you should have gone. Why should I go 15 hours away if people an hour away aren't going to go? It just doesn't make sense. So, and with the responsibility of running stuff. So somebody else can do it. I've done it many years, and it is what it is. Even the local people that play the DBA game that I'm not going to mention, but I'm not going to mention it because you can't go on their side and mention DBA. They'll get pissed off, and they don't mention it in the rules. So, even they had, if they didn't have their core people that were running the games, which was like 7 or 8 people, they only had like 4 extra guys. So I don't think they had anything that had more like 12 people in it. But, and that's their backyard. So, no games I wanted to play it looked like. The problem with it is that you can't look at the schedule and know what the game looks like. Like, for instance, that Pavia game was beautiful, but I don't know if it'd be much fun to play because it's kind of, the Spanish are just going to shoot and they're going to try to, expand out from the outside, and the French are going to try to bottle them in. I've already, figured the game out without ever playing it. It looked beautiful, but, I don't know what else, of all the games that I saw, and we only did a snapshot at one time. We knew we were going to do one filming video. And figured, okay, well, Saturday afternoon, there's got to be, after lunchtime, there's got to be a lot of stuff going on. And there just really wasn't. And it was kind of spread out all over the place. And, yeah. So, anyhow, it is what it is. We had a great time. We were not rushed. We got to shop plenty and look at things and meet people that we only meet one time a year or something like that. So, but anyhow, until next time, we'll be back to our regular schedule games and painting videos and the typical stuff that we do all the time. So thanks for stopping by, folks, and we will see you soon.